Hello, and welcome to 2022. I've been wanting to say that for quite a little while now. It's Yvonne Shepherd here. I'm the founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures, and we are entering into our 8th year here at Women's Fitness Adventures, and it promises to be a very exciting year this year. I'm so holding my breath, but so looking forward to what might come this year as well. I've got lots of things in the plans, and I will share those with you as we go through tonight and the weeks and the months ahead. So if you are watching live, please go ahead and let me know if you're watching live. It's been a while since I've connected with a few of you, so I'd love to see who's there. Just remember, I do say this at the beginning of every session. I can't see you, so if you don't make a comment, then I have no idea who you are or where you're watching from. And if you do comment, please let me know where you're watching from as well, because that would be great. So let me check in here. Hi, Karen from Brisbane. Hi, Sandy from Toowoomba. Hi, Helen Marie. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone as well. I am moving my computer around a little bit. I am designing a brand new program. Some of you may have seen me putting a few little teasers on the Facebook page of our Adventure Ready for Hiking courses. And I've literally got it mapped out here, and I've put everything on the top. So I hope my Post-it notes don't come flying off with it. Hi, Lorelei from Stanthorpe. Hi, Andrea from Cinnamon Park. And Helen, you're watching the beautiful Mary Valley. Suzanne. Well, Susan, are you still in Germany? I haven't caught up with you. I've been kind of trying to have a bit of a break from work over the Christmas, New Year period, and I'll share more of that as the weeks come. Patricia's watching from Crescent Head, and we were so lucky and fortunate to catch up with Patricia in person when she was in Brisbane a few weeks ago. And that was wonderful. Alvina from Tamborine, Gay from Brisbane, Happy New Year as well. Kathy from Essendon, Joe from Earwavale. And Susan says it's breakfast time in Germany. We've been loving watching your photos in the My Town Challenge as well. So keep them coming. And if you let us know how long you're staying over there for as well, that would be great. So, and Brodwin and me, she says, just home from a day at the beach in beautiful Launceston in Tasmania. So we are coming, you are coming to watch me far and wide today. And for those of you watching on the replay, please go ahead and make a note of where you're watching from as well, because it really makes a difference to all of us watching as well when we know how far and wide we can spread our New Year cheer. So here we are at the start of a brand new year. And as I said, holding our breath for what the brand new year might bring. And I'll share a little bit more later on about how my New Year's has started. But I'll just wait a little bit. You don't need that one tonight. So for those of you who got the newsletter that was emailed out on Saturday, New Year's Day, rather than today, it was a recap of the past 12 months and the highlights and my top 3 of the past 12 months. And I'm just going to go over that in a little bit more detail and then talk about my 3 words that I've finally chosen for the new year as well. And I'd love for you to keep adding the comments and the conversation as we go to this. And whether you agree or disagree or want to take it off on another tangent, I'd be really keen to hear that, because it's been a while since we've had a conversation. And I know for those of you who are watching who are members, our book club, which is starting again on the 19th, and I've actually got, the digital book, but it's captured me from day one, or from sentence one. I'm really into that book, and I know a couple of our book clubbers are here tonight. I hope that it's done the same for you. It's just grabbed me straight in. I've just got to work out how to pronounce her name. I don't want to get it wrong. And hi, Heather from Melbourne. So lovely to have you here as well. So I've said this, and I'll keep saying it. If we have learnt anything over the past 2 years, is that nothing is promised. Because tomorrow isn't a given anymore. The best laid plans, the best laid thoughts can just all be thrown up into the air, and where they land at the moment is anybody's question. So it's a year of one where we need to be, again, very flexible, I think, and one where we need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable again, and comfortable with uncertainty, which is really hard because, with uncertainty brings a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of unknown and the inability to plan as well. So we need to still focus on what we can control. And I'm going to go through some of those things for what we could control last year and what we actually were able to do and how it made all the difference. Susan, very best wishes for 2022. Yes, right back at you there. And yes, Heather's saying we've all loved your photos, Susan, from Germany. So please keep them coming. We're all living virtually through you by being able to go overseas and safely with your beautiful family over there that you met for the first time. Sandra D, hi from Barometer, Brisbane. Yeah, it's really warm. I've closed the door in my office here and the fan is on, but it's pretty warm because the wind was howling before, but it's a good day for washing. Suzanne Wilkinson, hello. And yes, very best wishes for you in 2022 as well. And Suze, it seems to be the day for Suzanne. And Sandra D is in Brisbane. Yeah. And Suze from Hoppers Crossing. And Suze, you're on a branded big adventure this year as well. So that's pretty exciting. So I did have the top 3 things from Women's Fitness Adventures that I want to dive into. And in the newsletter, I kind of touched on it, but I'll go into it in a little bit more detail here. But one of the things, and hi, Michelle, that I did differently last year is over the past 12 months, you've heard me talk about the line in the sand that I drew. And it was in the middle of December last year that I drew that line in the sand. Hi, Annette. I had a really terrible year in 2020, no different to anybody else. But because Women's Fitness Adventures was, built around in-person adventures and traveling and, doing physical things in person, when the pandemic hit, we really did literally almost decimate the business overnight. And there were some very dark days in 2020. And on top of that, my dad died as well. So it was a really tough time and no different to anyone else, just different characters in a story. And I found solace in, you would never have known this looking at the business, but I found solace in a lot of bakeries and was heading down a road that I didn't really want to be on in terms of where my health was going and what I was doing to myself physically. So at the end of last year, this is the point of the story, I drew that line in the sand and said, that I'm actually going to take action for the type of person that I want to be. And what I'm most proud of with myself is that 12 months later, when I looked back over that 12 months, I didn't waste the time. I didn't end up at the end of, 2021 going, actually, I'm in no better position than what I was at the end of 2020. So what I did was I focused on my sleep. I really just knew that I could control myself. I couldn't control what was happening in the world. I couldn't control the pandemic, but I could control my reaction to things and I could control how I responded and behaved and what I did or what I didn't do. And, in those 12 months of 2020, I was also personally blamed for causing the pandemic because we couldn't go adventuring. So there were some pretty personal attacks starting to happen as well. So I did take a lot of that on board, which I'd never really shared with anyone before. Anyway, enough of that down stuff. What happened was I really just decided that the focus needed to be on me, on the things that I could control. So I really focused on my sleep. And it's one thing to say we can wing it, so that we can, oh, she'll be right, which is the Australian thing, that it's been okay before, it'll be okay again. But I really knew that enough was enough. So I focused on sleep. I really had to reorganize my day because I am an early riser. I do my exercise first thing in the morning, sometime between 5:15 and 7:30 is when my exercise happens. And I know that that's really, really, really important. And hi, Annie from Noosa, really, really important for my own mental health, that if I can set that day up perfectly for me in terms of getting up, doing my exercise, getting my headspace right, and knowing that whatever happens in the day, I have been successful in looking after me and putting me first. So in order for me to get enough sleep, given that I get up at that hour, I needed to kind of look at my day and restructure my day so that I could get to bed and be asleep by about 9:30. And that took a little bit of adjustment. But I also purchased this ring that I have, which I think I've spoken about before, which is just a sleep monitoring thing that gives me an indication of how well I'm sleeping. And I had my booster shot last Friday, and it told me that my body temperature, obviously it was reacting to it, had increased 1 degree overnight, which is quite significant. So I obviously was running a little bit of a fever, but that accounted for, why I wasn't sleeping particularly well. So I paid attention to all those little things that started to add up. And, we all think we know how important sleep is, but it's not until you focus on it and you actually see how getting that 7 to 8 hours sleep a night, quality sleep, that before midnight, deep hours sleep, makes such a difference to who you are and to how you show up and to what you do. And hello, Christine. Thanks for listening in as well. I also focused on what I ate. I ate pretty well, and except for those bakeries that I was, sharing that I visited and found everyone in the southeast Queensland or most of Queensland corner in most of Queensland in 2020. But I was, I was kidding myself if I thought I was, super clean queen, the super queen of clean eating. Because if I was sitting here doing some work and I got stuck on a problem or I wanted a distraction, I'd go to the pantry and I'd, pull out just a couple of little things each time. And it wasn't till I kind of went, stop kidding yourself. You are actually doing things that you're not doing it because you're hungry. So when I started to focus on eating for hunger and pulling myself up, the quality of my overall eating improved even more. And I did that consistently over the 12 months. And I did lose some weight over the 12 months, but I toned up as well. And that has made all the difference to how I feel when I show up in my clothes, which then affects my mindset as well. But I also set, and this is really important as well, I set and I showed up for my own personal fitness goals. And I've said this time again, and if you're new, one of our great sayings that we have as leaders at Women's Fitness Adventures is, I will, Lorelei, actually, is consistency over time equals results. So no matter where you are in your health, your wellness, your fitness, your hiking journey, the very act of showing up and then showing up again and again and again and again over time equals results. And that's literally what I did for the past 12 months. Now, I didn't have to show up every day, didn't even have to show up every second day, but I had to show up consistently several times within a week. And then that over time led to amazing results. But it was, if I had said to myself at the end of 2020 that in 12 months' time, you will do this with your running, you will be able to do this with your hiking, you will be able to do this with your, whatever it is, your fitness, I would have, or I've been doing yoga with my flexibility, I would have said, no, I couldn't. And, but it's not until now, and I say this if our Couch to Mountain girls are watching as well, that I can look back and I can connect those dots backwards and go, yeah, actually it was because I consistently did yoga X amount of times a week. Yes, it was because I consistently got more sleep, or I consistently cut out the bakery items, or whatever it might be. It's when I look back that I can see how those actions have given me those results I want. But when I look forward, I can't actually see that. I can't see into the future. I can predict it. I can't predict it. I can plan it. I can focus on it, but it's not until you look back that you'll actually see your results. So it is that consistency over time. So Christine says, I now use a CPAP machine because I snore, and I can honestly say, I'll put this on here, it was the best thing you've purchased. You now sleep a solid 7 to 8 hours a night. Sleep is so important. Sleep is incredibly important, and there are so many reasons that we don't sleep. And I'm sure that, sometimes if we had a 3 a.m. club on Facebook, there would be, we're not doing that, but there would be many, many people in that, especially women in that club there. Hello, Annette, and Happy New Year to you as well. And if you want to drop in and let us know where you're watching from, that would be great. And the other thing I did, and I know from talking to a lot of members and non-members as well, is that getting that work-life balance, that harmony happening. And with a lot of people having to work from home, how do you know what your end of day or your start of day was and is. And, you know, if you're like me, and I love my work, I love you guys, that, you know, Women's Fitness Adventures is a very big part of me. But I can't do that all the time. And Judy, she's probably not watching, but she says, Yvonne, you need to look after yourself. In the next 30 years, we all want to be hiking with you in our 90s, that if you don't start looking after yourself in terms of setting these boundaries, then, you know, maybe we won't be there in 30 years' time. So I consistently set myself an end of day time to finish. And one of the things I was able to do was walk down to my local Woolies and pick up just 1 or 2 items and come back. And I'd need those 1 or 2 items, not really need them for dinner, but that was the way I could mark the end of my day. It also meant I got some extra steps into my day as well. Or I'd mark it with a yoga session, or I'd mark it with something that I made that commitment and held that commitment to myself. And hello, Chrissy from Caboolture as well. So here I am at the, 12 months later, because of all those things that I just not just because that undervalues it, I consistently focused on. And I'm a stronger version of me, mentally and physically, and emotionally. And, you know, I'm in a really good space to, I'm not sure, handle everything that 2022 is going to throw at me, but I feel, you know, that I'm in it. I have some really great foundations for moving forward. So if you have a story of how your 2021 worked, or how you'd like 2022 to play for you, I really would love to hear it, and you can drop that in there below, or you can email me info@Women's Fitness Adventures, or share it here on the Facebook page. Now, Lorelei, you wanted a little bit more about my ring. This is, if you can see that there, it's called the Aura ring, or Aura, O-U-R-A. It's out of Finland. And it's like, I have the sleep tracker on my watch. I actually did a fitness study for the CSIRO on sleep, and they had a sleep thing under the bed. They had the watch and they had the ring. So I had to go to bed with all of those. I never go to bed with my watch on, and or the watch they gave me, actually. And it was to measure sleep. And their whole purpose of their study was to, it was all about disease and prevention in, that word, at risk in, or, those persons in our society that are more at risk of getting injury or getting illness. And so we did it for 2 weeks, and the Aura ring, O-U-R-A, you can get it online, actually has little sensors. I can't get it off now because my fingers have swollen a little bit at the end of the day. Has sensors in there, and it will measure your number of hours sleep, your deep sleep, your REM sleep, so same as a watch does, but it also measures your heart rate variability, it measures your body temperature, it measures your latency, so how long it takes you to get to sleep. It's all done on algorithms, so it's nothing, more scientific than a watch, but it is more accurate because it will measure it closer to your body with less movement. I broke my wrist there, so this watch, when it goes on, doesn't actually sit properly to measure things. But what it also, I learnt, was that 18 degrees is the optimal room temperature for sleeping. So I literally have the fan on all the time, and if it gets too hot in Queensland, then I'll put the air conditioning on as well. But when I learnt those things, it actually made a huge difference to my sleep. So I hope that helps, and if you want, let me know and I can drop the link in there. But some of the things that I want to share within Women's Fitness Adventures, because the members and the stories and the journeys that we had over the past 12 months will be amazing. And we did 2 great big 5 kilometres for 5 days challenges. And I know that we had many members join from those, which was absolutely fantastic. And we got to live and share the lives of women from all over the world during those challenges. And I know the impact that had on many, many women. And for those who then went on to join our membership, such a positive impact still going on now. And if, just while I'm doing this, if you're not a member and want to join, the membership is open. So let me just pop that on the screen. If you want to join, just go to the website, womensfitnessadventures.com, and become a member, and you can join from there. But I broke the year down into 3s. So the top 3 media spots, because if I didn't go back and look at it, I wouldn't remember what we did. So the top 3 media spots, we were very fortunate again. This was about our 3rd or 4th time. Sounds a bit blasé, doesn't it? but very privileged to be on Channel 7 Brisbane's Weekender program, prime time on a Sunday afternoon at 5:30, featuring the trails of Mount Cootha, which was just a wonderful thing. And the team at Channel 7 and Victoria are really amazing. And thanks to our members who helped us in that segment as well. It's always a load of fun. And that was for Brisbane City Council's Brisbetter Day Out, so showcasing what Brisbane has to offer. We also, around this time last year, were featured in the Australian Women's Weekly, a big double-page spread in there, along with the author Laura Waters, who was one of our book club book choices of Bewildered, who walked the length of New Zealand, and also with another, I think it was like not sure who else was in there, but it was 3 women shaping the future and the direction of the way women walk and why we walk. And that story was actually written 2 years ago on a plane when we were heading off for our hiking adventure in Hokkaido, Japan, and was meant to be done in January 2020 in the magazine. But because the bushfires came, it got bumped. And then I had no idea that it was actually going to appear, and it appeared in the December-January 2021 issue. And it was just so uncanny that it was alongside that book that we had read for book club, which was the foundation for also one of our challenges, 45 minutes for 45 days. So that was pretty cool. Like I said, feel free to go ahead and comment. If you have any questions, you can also ask as well. And then the third media spot, which was really touched my heart a lot, was Christine Jackman, who is a member but an author. Not but an author. She is a member. She is an author. She is a former foreign correspondent. She's a mother. She's a communications PR specialist as well. She wrote a book called Turning Down the Noise, which we often talk about. And it's just over there. I should have had it here. And she actually acknowledged women's fitness adventures in her book for for giving her the opportunity to have the space to go out and walk in a safe and supportive environment where she could process her thoughts. And she had a lot of things going on. So I've never been acknowledged in a book before. So that was a really big highlight for me. And Christine is a regular on our Monday Night Live. Hasn't been for a little while, but she will be back again in 2022. And hello, Jenny in Melbourne. I hope that you're well, and thank you for joining in. Our top 3 adventures for 2021, I have to get my years right, were our Outback Queensland fitness adventure that we did in April of 2021. We did 2 in 2020. We managed, even though there were lots of lockdowns and lockouts and all sort border closures in 2021, we did manage to get away a fair bit. We skirted borders. We, managed quite a few things. And looking back, I'm not really quite sure how we did it, but we did, and held our nerve, and were able to do that. And I'm hoping that we don't have to do that in 2022. I'm hoping that it is an easier way to travel around domestically anyway, and that, the adventure can be enjoyed as it's meant to be, not an is it on again, is it off again. But anyway, I think that it made for our adventures to be even more exciting in last year than and more memorable, because we actually cherished the moments more, the opportunities to be able to get together and have that transformation happen. So the top 3, and there were many, and it was really hard to choose, was the Outback Queensland adventure, held in Western Queensland, 6 hours west of Roma, then 3 hours north, in the Carnarvon Ranges, and then staying at a private property that was exclusively booked out by us at glamping. And, all the women who went this year, last year and the year before, thought they were going for the Carnarvon Gorge and the spectacularness of that. And believe me, it is. But when we were on this private property, which is absolutely huge, having it all to ourselves and seeing these Indigenous artifacts and the stories, and our guides having such an intimate knowledge, seeing sandstone structures, and just living and breathing in this outback space was something pretty special. And I know Marianne, and she didn't make it to showcase, but when I spoke about it, she said She's been a member for a while and said, why didn't you tell me? And I went, what? Thought I was in trouble. Why didn't you tell me that when I went on an adventure, one of your multi-days, it would be just like that? She said, it is the best adventure I have ever been on. How do you tell? I can't actually tell you what it's like until you go on one. Anyway, that one is happening again in August this year. And expressions of interest are currently on the website for that. Our overland track hike in Tasmania was a big highlight. There were 9 of us that braved the borders. The borders were literally, it was a bit like Get Smart going through those lifts where they're shutting behind him. The borders were literally shutting behind us. We got to Tasmania. It was the middle of winter. We had literally the World Heritage listed national park and the overland track to ourselves. I think we saw 12 people in the whole time we were there. Our packs were heavy as it was cold. It was hard. It was a really hard hike carrying a 20 kilo plus pack on our back in wet conditions, but we had all the safety gear. We had our sense of humor. We had each other and we had a blast. And that was literally a once off. It is highly, highly unlikely that one will come again. And our Great Ocean Road hiking adventure we did in May 2021. And it is always special. It is always a favorite. It is right back where it began 8 years ago this May. So we have 2 adventures in 2022, one in March and one in May. And the May one will be 8 years to the day since Women's Fitness Adventures was born. So that one, you know, that iconic shipwreck coast delivers a little bit of everything and nothing. You can't take anything. Well, that one gives you everything, absolutely everything. So they were our top 3 adventures. You would do the Outback again and again and again, Lorelei says. Yeah, I would too. Well, actually, no, I'm not going again. I've done that one twice. I'm going to the Mount Moffat one. But yeah, it is just phenomenal. So if you are thinking of an adventure, that one is just amazing. And you see places that, you know, I reckon 0.01% of the world would see. So very special. And thanks for sharing that, Lorelei. Our top 3 pictures of our 4-legged friends who were in all of our member challenges throughout the year. There was always a 4-legged furry friend and some other animals as well, some Australiana. And I know for our American members, they quite loved looking at all the Australiana, but I'm not sure that they'd be too comfortable in some of those locations, from alpacas and sheep to kangaroos and cows to kookaburras and our ever-present water dragons that we have as well. And then the magpies swooping through functional fitness and all sorts of things. But our 4-legged friends were always there for us. And Jazz had to feature, Rosalind, your Jazz had to feature, obviously, because Jazz has been, you know, a standout star with Rosalind all year, participating in every single challenge. So she was there. And then Honey's picture of her dogs on her stand-up paddleboard up in far north Queensland was just the most amazing picture. And if you haven't seen the newsletter or haven't received it, please message below and I will send it to you, because that picture is simply phenomenal. Yes, Jazz is a superstar. Yeah, she absolutely is. Our top 3 functional fitness workouts. And because that was one thing that I did do consistently over the past 12 months as well, because I teach it. And over summer with Daylight Saving, I teach it twice a day on a Thursday live. And then I also make a video every week, which is delivered every second week to you guys. So there's quite a lot of functional fitness videos on there. But with our goal, and Wendy, if you're watching, our goal is to always, for as long as we possibly can, put our undies on while we're standing up. And if you're not quite there yet, then that's what the functional fitness videos are for. They're all about, they're designed for hiking to make us functionally fit and strong for hiking. So no matter what obstacle, what trail, what surface comes at us or what we need to carry, we are functionally fit and strong so that we can successfully do the trail, but we can also remain injury free and not have those aches and pains or, you know, potential issues that go on and on and on for years after we've done a trail. And some of those are stories that I hear, not from our members, but stories that I have heard over my years in the industry. But my top three, there's about 26, a couple more I've got to drop in there, to choose from are the leg strength and stability, and that's always, always important. The shoulders and back, because carrying a pack, we want those shoulders and back to be strong, which protects our pelvic floor area as well. And then our final one, balance. And I know that someone, Gwen, I think, popped in there that she just loves the balance workouts. And balance is all about being able to put your undies on standing up. Balance is all about getting up in the night, having to go, if you have to go to the toilet, and being able to stand up and navigate your way around in the darkness. Balance is being able to put a backpack on and not being able to be hunched over. Balance is being able to sit upright and shoulders back and not feeling that that's, putting any stress on any other parts of your body. And balance is so many other things. And Patricia, you're always a superstar. She's so much stronger now since joining in May. And you'll be hearing Patricia's story as part of our new segment of member stories coming up in a couple of weeks. So thank you for sharing that one, Patricia. Our top three masterclasses that we ran for 2021. Our masterclasses are, I think, just a fabulous way of us sharing the information that's needed so that you can have all the information you need when you go to buy equipment or make decisions around things, so that you save money, you save time, and you choose wisely. Because there is nothing worse than buying the wrong pair of hiking boots because the salesperson said there was a great deal on them, and then getting home and finding out that they just don't fit, or they just don't feel comfortable when you walk down the hill, and that for $20 more, you could have bought this pair, which not only works going down a hill, but gives you extra cushioning, that gives you that ankle support. So making the right choice first up actually saves so much in the long term, because everything that we buy, and you don't need to buy a whole lot, is designed to make your hiking adventure better. And if the wrong equipment can ruin an adventure, the right equipment, you just don't even think about it, and you don't need a whole lot of equipment, which is why we do the masterclasses. So my top three for masterclasses were layering, and that's all about raincoats and keeping warm and what to do when it's cold. Feet, happy hike, successful hike. And backpacks, being like a turtle. How much do you put in there? What if you buy too small a pack? You can never buy too big a pack because you don't have to fill it. The thicker waistband to protect the pelvic floor. I know women that have multiple backpacks because they thought a 20 kilo or 20 litre pack was going to be big enough. And it may be if you're just walking around the suburbs and stuff, but if you're out on a day hike and want to be prepared, then 20 litres may not be big enough. So it's just giving that information so that you can make an informed choice, so that when you go and ask those questions in the store and the salesperson asks you lots of questions, you have all that knowledge and all those checklists, literally pull it out of your back pocket. Okay, so they were my top three things for 2021, and I could talk for hours and hours, but I've been going for half an hour already. So that brings me to my three words. Oh, hey, Di and Yamba, and yeah, happy membership card. Di and I are actually on our running group membership card, so happy that. My three words for 2022. I've been thinking a lot about these, and I've been thinking, maybe overthinking it, but my first word is space. And that has so many different meanings. Space, as in giving myself physical space, which at the moment is getting away from. Oh, but not that. Just giving myself some space. The other one is space in my head. So, Christine, if you're watching, it's the turning down the noise. It's space away from this. It's space away from my desk so I can think with clarity. But it's also space in terms of my yoga that I have been doing and my outside pursuits to give me more flexibility, to give me more mobility, to give me more better posture. So all of those things, space in my functional fitness as well. So those things you'll start to see and hear me talk about a whole lot through this year. My second word is intention. So living life with intention this year. So not, and I think last year set the foundation for that. So not getting up and just going through the motions of the day. You know, what is my intention for today? Why am I showing up to do this or that, or read this or eat this, or do whatever it might be? What is my intention for today? Whether I'm successful or not, but that's a word I'm going to focus on for this year. And my third word is trust. Now you've noticed that space, intention, and trust actually make the word sit, and it wasn't intended that way, but it's easy for me to remember. Trust, as in trust what I've learnt, trust what I know, trust the Women's Fitness Adventures community, trust that it's all going to be okay, that right where we all are is right where we're meant to be, and to really just sit with that, that, you know, to trust my gut, to know that if something doesn't feel right, and I know for one of our members, if she's watching, if something, and we had this discussion the other week, if something doesn't feel right, then it's probably not right, and to trust that intuition as well. So so my three words, I'm just going to write them here: space, intention, and trust. And for those of you who are watching and aren't members, our members, we've all set ourselves, or most of us have set ourselves 3 words for the year that we want to live by. And we've got a word cloud happening, which will be updated. And there are some amazing, amazing words in there that mean, have a personal meaning for everyone. And I think it's just amazing that we've all taken the time to deliberately and intentionally look at what 2022 means for us, which is, you know, all those great learnings that we've had over the past 2 years have all been so fruitful and come out in those 3 words for everyone. Thanks, Marie-Claire, for those words. They took a while to get, but they finally arrived, you know, later this afternoon, which is a good thing. So what is coming up? So if you aren't a member and you're watching, membership is currently open. So you can look at join membership there. And if you are a member and have a friend who wants to join, or a colleague, we have our Adventure Dollars referral program, and we'll be sending you some information on that. But basically, if you refer a friend and they join, you receive Adventure Dollars, which are pretty much the same as cash, which can be used on any adventure on the website. So we will share information with you soon. But if you aren't a member and want to join, and I know there's quite a few of you sitting there on our wait list, our membership is open. Like I said, we could sit here in a year's time and wish we had taken action sooner. It's just like planting that tree. And when I pruned the garden yesterday, I am so glad I planted those trees 2 years ago, because they have grown. We only moved house 2 years ago. So I'm so glad I planted them 2 years ago, because they're that much bigger than they were. Whereas if I'd waited another year and then another year, from little things, big things grow. Suze is still deciding on her words. Yep, that's it. It takes sometimes a little while to settle in. And Heather's are very good words: gratitude, contentment, and joy. I like those. I like everybody's words. I think everyone's done an amazing job with their words. The other thing is we put some expressions of interest for our adventures onto the website. So some have a lot of interest. Some are already sold out, which we had kind of put on there last year. But please always add your name to the wait list, because if they are sold out, we always look at that wait list, and we'll possibly add another adventure if we can. And the reason they sell out so quickly is the numbers are limited. They're small. We want to ensure that we have, you know, no more. I think our biggest group is about 17 that we've ever had. And that's because we were able to have a little bit more capacity. But they're generally driven by the need for this wonderful connection that happens. They're generally about the size of a boardroom, 8 to 12, where everyone can join in the conversation, and everyone has the opportunity to strike up a conversation, to, you know, walk with somebody differently all the time and to build that bond, which has started way before the adventure anyway. And they're also driven by national park permits as well. So some of the places that we go are very special indeed, and we can't take more than, sometimes a handful of people. And when we go to Green Gully, we're only allowed to take 4 plus our guide and one of us. So very special. Annie says, what age range are your members? So some of our members may want to share what they think the age range is as well. But generally, our members are anywhere from, I would say, maybe mid to late 40s up to mid 70s would be our members' age. And there's no age limit. There's no age restriction. It's generally the like-mindedness of the women and the conversations that we have that have determined that age group. So Heather says 20 to 29. Okay, Heather, you can have that. So it's generally that like-mindedness of conversation that attracts other women in that like-minded age as well. I don't know if anyone wants to have any higher bids than Heather, but Annie, that's mine, anywhere from kind of mid-40s to mid-70s. And our sweet spot is probably in the, I would say, late 50s to mid-60s would be the sweet spot. Heather's just an anomaly, an outlier down there. And the other thing I want to talk about, and I'm so excited about, or 2 things. One is book club, which is back on the 19th. And for our book club members, I think this one's going to be a goodie. As I said, I just have to work out how to pronounce her name. I'm captivated from the start. I've scribbled notes already. And then I've got another book that I read years and years ago that I want to just give everyone the title of when we start talking about it, because it changed me. That book changed the way I looked at the whole lot of things. So the book that we're reading, and book club is all part of membership, is called In Order to Live. And her name is, I'm going to get it wrong because I haven't looked it up, Yeonmi Park, Yeonmi. It might be Yeonmi. I need to just check that up. And it is great. It's about a girl and her mother who escaped from North Korea, and she is now studies at university and has written a book about it. Annie says, I'm at the top of your age range, but we'll give it a go. There's never a top of the age range, Annie, so feel free to step in. And when we start chatting with our member stories, you will see that age is not really the question. It's about the like-mindedness, the support, the encouragement, and the kindness as well. Oh, we know you're only joking, Heather. And Annie's at the top of your age range at 29. So there you go. That's a good thing. And then the other thing I do want to talk about for members, you will get a lot of these modules dropped into you anyway. But I'm working away, and the pictures I'm putting up of my Adventure Ready hiking course, I'm very, very excited about this. This is a combination of 8 years of 8 years of knowledge, 8 years of feedback, 8 years of watching and seeing, and 15 years of working in the fitness industry with women. It is all coming into this Adventure Ready for Hiking course, and I'm very excited about it. For our members who are booked on multi-day adventures, a lot of these modules will slot into the new trainings that are being delivered into those multi-day adventures, because training is part of it. So they'll be delivered inside of that as well for you. So I'm very, very excited about that. So that's what's coming up this week. Our first back, I think there's a live walk in Brisbane this week, and hopefully, as I said, life might settle down with travel this year in terms of domestic. But our online social walk is on Sunday morning, and I'll be taking that one. So I do hope that you will join me on Sunday morning, 6:30 Brisbane time, via Zoom. So get your headphones, and we will have a great old chat there. But I'm at the desk this week. Wasn't planned, but I'm at the desk. Holidays didn't quite happen for us this year. But that's a story I'll share with you in a couple of weeks' time as to why. So yeah, here I am back at the desk. And Annie Rodwin says everybody performs at their own pace, and that's probably a great thing. And I know you shared that somewhere else earlier this week too, Brodwin, when someone asked. The biggest question women have when they come to Women's Fitness Adventures, and most people join not knowing anyone, is that, the biggest fear is, will I be last? What if I can't keep up? What if no one talks to me? All those what ifs. And, someone has to be last. The trail isn't wide enough for 25, or not 25. I said we don't go that high, for 12 women to walk abreast. So it is, someone has to be at the back, which is usually one of our leaders. If we have a guide, it's one of our leaders. And if we don't have a guide, if it's an adventure we're doing on our own, then we have ways to ensure that nobody feels that they're last. And we also have a no sorry rule where no one has to apologize. When you get there, you say, thanks for waiting. Everyone's been there. Everyone's felt the same. So as Brodwin says, here again, everybody performs at their own pace. So someone's Everest is someone's Everest. Your Everest might be Everest, and mine might be, walking my first 2 kilometers. So it's all about support, encouragement, and motivation, and lifting each other up and living our best life. So on that, I have been talking for a long time. Thank you all for staying with me for so long. Thank you to those who shared their name and where they're watching from. And thank you for those who still remained anonymous but might have given us some hearts or some thumbs up. You won't mind being, I'm going to end on this. I won't mind being last as long as I'm there. Yep. Life is all about just dipping your toe in and giving it a go. I really thank you for that, Suze. All right, so thanks. That's it, guys. I will be seeing you Monday next week. Until then, take care.